All right, guys, welcome back to the shack. And tonight I'm going to go on a little adventure and try to accomplish a project that I've been putting off for quite a while with the CNC. And that is a two-sided CNC project. There's a lot more dynamics goes into that because you have to engrave one side, rotate the workpiece, and then engrave the other side. And there's some challenges. Vectric, which is the software we're going to be using, VCarve Pro, does make the software side of it relatively simple. So hopefully we can get the process going and come up with a usable project tonight. If not, then more practice and hopefully we'll get better. But if you want to see if we succeed or fail epically, stick around and we're going to get this project started. All right, guys, so again, we're going to be using 3 bits for this job. There's going to be a lot of bit changes involved, but that's the nature of the beast. The first bit that we're going to be running is going to be the bowl bit from Genie. This is a Genie bit. Bowl bit, we'll be using it to do the little quick contour in the middle. After that, we're going to be running the Genie bit, the compression bit, which is already on the machine. And then once we get all of those tooling done, we're going to be using this little round over bit that I got picked up from IDC over Garrett over at IDC Woodcraft. So that's the bits we're going to be running. So we're going to get this thing set up and try to make sure we can get it on the bed of the machine and have it set so that we can just flip the material as we're supposed to in the file setup and do the back side. So let's see how it goes. All right, so we've got the material on there best I can do, and next thing we're going to need to do is set the zero. Now, so the zero is not going to need to change when we flip this, hopefully. Hopefully we can keep the material sitting still long enough that it's not going to be required. All right, so I've got the bit down in the hole of the little corner marker, and we're going to hit the probe button for the corner, and it's going to check to confirm the zero. Now with my little bracket that I've made, the cool thing is it holds that guy still, holds it in place, and it can't move. So that's the advantage of it being so snug and machined exactly to the right tolerances. So there we go. Corner's all set up and we should be ready to get this thing going. This is going to be the Genie bit cut. Because the Genie bit was already in there, instead of running the pocket first, since I'm not cutting all the way through the material, I just decided to go ahead and run it with the Genie first, and then we'll go with the rest of the bits after that, because I'm not going all the way through the material, so it's not going to be as critical which one I do at what point. So got it zeroed, move my controller over here out of the way. All right, guys, going to share this with you. When I laid the file out, I didn't even pay attention to the fact that the clamps were exactly where they didn't need to be. And it rips this clamp right here. It just like knocks the little lip off of it. And I'm kind of sitting over to the side watching. I'm like, no big deal. You know, I've got another clamp. And then it hits the next one and I'm like, oh, this has gotten worse. But I'm like, that's okay. I still got 2 clamps on it. You know, I'm just going to let it run for the sake of the project. And then, guys, epic failure right here. So I had to hit the E-stop. All right, after that epic fail, guys, I had to get another piece of material. This time I got a bigger piece of material. I did have to get some of my 3D printed clamps out and rebuild those guys. But I've got everything on there now. Just going to set the zero. I've reconfigured the file a little bit. Of course, the material thickness is different. The material size is different. But other than that, the process is going to be the same. We created the file in V-carve. The one thing that I did not account for, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this before you guys are beating me up about it, is when I designed the file, apparently I didn't think that I needed to center the item in the workpiece. And this created about an eighth, a little over an eighth of an inch of a discrepancy when I flipped the material because it wasn't centered. And it took me this attempt to figure out that that's where I went wrong, I think. Because when I flipped the material over, the two sides didn't quite line up. So here we go. I don't want to spoil the whole story, but other than that, this was an effective operation. The centering, I need to work on that. There's still some things that I'm learning about these two-sided jobs, and it's fun to practice, but yeah, long way to go. So I'm just going to speed through some of the video, guys. This is currently running at real speed up until this point, but I'm going to speed through some of the CNC footage here, and then we'll get to the end of the video. All right, guys, after a little bit of confusion, messing up my first batch of material, I finally got it to work. I will say for my first two-sided, or actually this is my second attempt, but for my first successful two-sided CNC project, this was a bit of a challenge. Not so much laying the file out. That part was actually easy. It's all of the making sure your material's where it needs to be. And I'm not sure I got it 100% correct, but we're going to get these out of here, clean them up a little bit, and we'll discuss where we need to work on our technique. All right, guys, so I know there's a lot of videos out there, and there's a lot of channels that tell you, you know, how great and how easy and how you can just throw some stuff together on a CNC and it works. Well, as you saw, guys, this is not one of those videos, okay? But the good news is this was all a learning experience for me, and I brought you guys along, okay? I had never attempted a two-sided engrave. I had been intimidated by it. Like, there were so many things that I felt like could go wrong. I didn't want to really do it on a video. But then after hearing a lot of you guys talk about, you know, how you mess up projects and you do this and you do that as you're learning, guys, that's what it's all about. To me, half of the fun is learning new things. Now, can it get expensive if you're breaking bits or destroying materials? Yeah. But luckily, these machines are pretty rigid. They take a beating pretty well. And other than, you know, some work holding, everything came out okay. A little bit of minor miscalculation on my part, guys. And as you can see, I destroyed my poor little hold downs. And that is what broke the material loose from the workspace. And then everything went bad, and I had to hit the red button to stop it. But good news is with Carbide 3D, you can go to their website, like I've said before, like I've showed you guys before, and you can print you some more of these things. And so that's what I did. I've printed myself plenty of them, and I've got them in a box down here. And so I just swapped these guys out. But the secret to successful CNC projects, guys, is don't give up. Don't get frustrated. Don't just throw your hands up. It is definitely a challenge. And we're going to call this project 50% success. Because from here, guys, that is an awesome looking ornament. I mean, don't you think? Awesome. Looks good, right? Till you turn it that way. Okay, so the one thing that I will say is I'm going to have to work on my alignment. Because what happened is in setting the file up, when you flip it, it has to be exact. And there was something I forgot to check with my material was my material completely square? Because if it wasn't, when I put it into the corner holder on my CNC, it's not going to line up right. And I think that's what happened because I had a variation of varying degree of off. They were all a little off on the two halves. It looks like somebody was doing a glue up and let them slide. That's what it looks like. I mean, literally, it's like maybe 1/8 of an inch off. Some places a little more. But the two pieces basically slid, it looks like. So I'm thinking that's what happened. I'm thinking I didn't have my material square, and when I flipped it over, the two sides just didn't quite line up correctly. But all in all, guys, because this could have been much, much worse of a project, it could have looked much worse. I'm going to say this is like a halfway success. Now, the first go at it, when the clamps came off, epic failure, all right? Epic fail. But guys, don't be intimidated by it. Don't let it get you just, down and don't give up. Figure out what you did wrong, which in my case, what I did wrong the first go around was I forgot to account for where my clamp's going to be. I kept saying I probably needed to tape it and not use clamps, but I didn't listen to myself, and I was trying to be cheap and use a smaller piece of material instead of the bigger piece that I used here, and that's what got me, okay? So usually when you're trying to cut corners is when it's going to bite you. So just remember that. But all in all, guys, does this give me hope and that one day I will successfully be able to do a two-sided engrave? Yes. Because being able to do this much of it, just this much of it, to get that close has helped my confidence level with this tremendously. So pick you out a small, a little small, you can do a coaster, you can do a little ornament like this. Pick you out a little small project, build it, and go for it. But take my word for it, guys. Make sure your material is completely square so that you can flip it over and everything is exactly where it needs to be. Because I think that's where we went wrong. I think that little bit of a shift in that flip is what got me. So I hope this helps, guys. Not really that much of a how-to. For the most part, the software part, you can listen to that, but don't break your stuff. Always watch for where those clamps are. But I hope the video helps, guys. I hope it was fun, enjoyable, maybe a little bit of comedic relief for you. And I will be dropping links to the Shapeoko 5 down below in the description if you decide to get one. If you use that link, it lets them know that Clack Shack sent you, and they'll give me a couple dollars back for what I spent on mine. So if you want to get one, go check out that link. But guys, until next time, be safe and have a good day.